Hey everybody, Neil Thompson from Teach the Geek here. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as every bit helps. Last weekend, I was a speaker at the SHRM conference. SHRM stands for Society of HR Management. And it's a big conference. It happened here in San Diego, where I live. I was told there were about 20,000 attendees there, a lot of people. I presented it on the first day at noon. I was worried that people wouldn't show up, but luckily that wasn't the case. It was every seat seemed to have been filled and people were standing to listen to my presentation. So I was very happy about that. I want to go over a few things that I did during the presentation that was helpful to me. And if you're ever in such a situation where you're giving a presentation at a conference, perhaps it'll be helpful to you as well. It's so important to be mindful of the time. At the conference that I was at where I was presenting, there was a big timer in front of me. So I saw how much time I had left. It turns out I finished with about 25 seconds left to spare. So I definitely was within time. I'm guessing that perhaps other people weren't paying attention to that timer because they went over time. I'm looking at my watch thinking they probably should have been done by now, but yet here they are still talking. Don't be that speaker. If you're given a certain amount of time, present within that amount of time so you're not the reason the agenda gets thrown off kilter. So there's that. When it comes to the presentation itself, I'm a big fan of having a strong start and finish. Those are the things that people are going to remember probably the most. The start is to get people to really engage in what you're saying, and then the end is likely the last thing they're going to remember. With my presentation, my first line was, "Why is there sweat coming out of my fingernails?" And I paused because I was curious to see what people would do. And of course, you have that laughter because who's expecting anybody to say something like that? And then I get into the story of how I had to give presentations in front of management and sweating profusely all over, including on my fingernails. And then my last line was, "No sweat on my fingernails this time around." And that basically ties right back to what I said at the beginning about my fingernails being sweaty. So I'm a big fan of having a strong start, a strong end, and of course, useful information in between. That's what Teach the Geek's all about, after all. It's all about being able to convey information in a clear and effective manner. And then the last thing I would say is if you want to stay in touch with people and you don't want to leave it to them to get in touch with you, if you have a QR code in your presentation and people can scan it, they can leave their email address and their name, and then you offer them something in exchange for their contact information. In my case, I was doing a presentation on developing speaker training programs for technical staff, and I developed a resource sheet with articles that I had written on what they can do to develop a speaker training program for their technical staff in their organizations. So I essentially said near the end of the presentation, if you scan this QR code, I'll send you this resource. And I got a number of takers. So now I have their email addresses, I have their names, and I will be messaging them at some point. Well, not at some point. I will definitely be messaging them in the next couple of days. I took some time to not do it right after the conference since the July 4th weekend happened. I figured if I wait until after the weekend, it's more likely that they'll read the email that I send them. So those are the three things I really wanted to talk about in terms of the presentation that I gave at the SHRM conference. It was well attended. My presentation was well attended. I was really happy about that. So then the three points I made just to reiterate is the importance of staying on time. Don't be that speaker that disregards the time limit. Have a strong start and close to your presentation. People will remember both. And then if you want to stay in touch with people so that you can contact them at a later date, offer them something in exchange for their email address and their name. And you can use a QR code that will lead to a landing page that basically I can set all that up. So hopefully that's been helpful. Again, my name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go to teachthegeek.com. Again, that is teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as every bit helps. Thanks and have a great day.